I'm live. What's up, riders? Ol Man Ronin here. Welcome back to the channel. Well, let's see. How many people do we have on right now? We have 5 watching. Good. Well, that's a good start considering I don't do a lot of live streams. I try to do one a month. Today I was going to introduce a video, but it had so many edits in it, and I thought, since I planned on doing the live stream, I'm just going to do one thing. Do the live stream today, and then Wednesday we'll come out with another video, which will be based on moto camping. And the title of the video is, well, I haven't really decided on a title, but it's basically me showing you a couple of the moto camping places, and one I really just finished cutting down stuff. There's a lot of brush in these areas that I follow these deer trails. If you guys watch the videos, you know that I do most of my moto camping around deer trails, and instead of campgrounds. I'll go to a campground if I have to. I prefer out west BLM lands, parks with places. I don't need electricity most of the time. Now, when I do the Trans-America Trail, I will be using more electricity than I normally would because of charging batteries and for cameras and things of that nature. But as far as me, when I'm camping around here in Ohio, I go to really rural backwoods areas, and I like to follow deer trails if I have permission to go on it. And some of the places that I go to, they're pretty rough. In fact, well, on Wednesday you'll see the video. Let's see what we got here. Well, we got S. How you doing there, S? And Signified, that's Andy. I do know that. And then Dante. Hey, greetings everybody. How you doing tonight? And let's do a quick cheers. I don't know if you can see in the corner what we're drinking here tonight, but Monkey Shoulder, man, I'm telling you, it's my new favorite blended scotch. I'm a big fan of it, and I do mix it today. I love this. I'm not sponsored. Boland's cream soda mixed with this scotch. It's amazing, and so that's what we're drinking today. A little bit of scotch instead of beer, and yeah, it is what it is. Who else we got coming on here? There's Kevin. How you doing, Kevin? And Lance, great to see you. Hello from New Jersey. Hello from Ohio. And then we got Chad on there. Sig says, 1 plus the Monkey Shoulder. Yeah, I'll tell you, I started drinking it a while ago, and I really enjoyed when I had it this straight, and I like it neat a lot. But I've actually talked to the guys from the because they're a small company in there in Scotland, and they told me, man, it makes a great mixer. And I'm normally not a Scotch mixer. If I do that, I'll do like a well whiskey or something, but it's really good as a mixer. So I've tried some different things with it, and you guys know in the past that not only being a chef, I was a bartender for a few years as well too. You get in and out of the cooking every once in a while because I kind of plateau, so I've done that a little bit. So again, that's why I bought a Honda. Just kidding. Let's see. There's Jimmy. How you doing, Jimmy, from Texas? And Bruce from Tennessee. Hey, I'm glad everybody's coming on. Like I say, if you have any specific questions you want to talk about, that's great. Like I say, the theme of tonight is basically not in the woods, live, not from the woods, because I'm really going to start cranking up the off-road stuff with the Himalayan. We'll do some Sportster stuff back there too, and we'll do some regular things as well too, along with some of the build series. But the Himalayan. The reason I bought that bike is because I wanted to do more off-road moto camping. And I'm telling you, the places that you're going to see on Wednesday, no way I could have got the Sportster back there. No way. Some dirt bikes would have had trouble, particularly the high revving ones. I literally had to crawl, really using the clutch, the friction zone to get in some of these areas because there was so many really hard turns and so many laid down logs and things like that. It's going to be fun. So, like I say, if you have any questions, like I said, but that's what we're talking about today is the moto camping, and from some of the future stuff we're going to be doing too, like some of the test rides on the European bikes and of course the Harley Davidson. Man, this stuff is good. If you haven't tried it, we'll get a close-up here. It's a Monkey Shoulder. Let's see what the camera does. It's going to be backwards, obviously, on the film, unfortunately. But yeah, it's really good blended. It's a blended Scotch. It's not a what do you call it? A single malt. But Anyway, like I say, I usually drink, when I do drink scotch, I like the Islay or Islay, or however you want to pronounce it. I like the real peaty, smoky stuff. Reminds me of barbecue and things like that. So, but getting back to our motorcycle stuff, the Himalayan, we added, if you notice, the pannier rails, and I was trying to find some Royal Enfield panniers that are cost effective. Man, they are expensive. I don't know how many of you guys have those, the regular aluminum ones on there, but even the soft bags and stuff are pretty expensive. So I'm gonna have to wait a little bit before I can actually purchase any of those, unless I can find a really good deal online, or for shipped in from India. But man, they're expensive. And until then, I'm just going to be strapping backpacks to the side of the motorcycle, because that's what I've always done my entire life. Is I've always just used backpacks and jerry-rigged them up there, and so we'll probably do that for a while, to do the moto camping, because I actually have a couple backpacks that are set up for my old motorcycle camping as well too. That has my cooking kit in it, all my fire starting equipment, my first aid kit. I carry a trauma kit. That's one of the things I really I think is important. I'll tell you a story. My son took a trip to Alaska a few years back. Actually, it's been about 15 years back. And he went up there with one of his city friends. And one of the things that I taught him a long time ago is how to suture and how to clean wounds. And sure enough, they got 6 or 8 hours up away from the nearest town, and his city boyfriend hit himself with a hatchet and laid his leg wide open. And so my son was able to use some of the techniques we've talked about before with him, and was able to suture him up, and using I always carry whiskey with me, and not for drinking purposes, but also for a little bit, but not for that in particular. It's more of an antiseptic and something to keep the blood flowing. And even though you think about you want to stop the blood flowing, but at first when you get a cut, you want to make sure in case it's some kind of some kind of material that'll cause an infection real quick. You want to bleed it out, and then you want to clean it good, and then you want to suture it out. So that's one of the things that I taught him, and he was able to actually save the kid's leg because of that reason before they got back. Let's see. Hey, Bill, how you doing? Mash unit. Yeah, well, this is made with a mash. But I really do. I carry a small trauma kit for that reason, because you never know. And that kit's with me, and it can take care of, because when you're out in the woods, in particular in my part of Ohio, we have a lot of people that love to shoot, and you wouldn't be surprised something flying over your head every once in a while. So that way I can take care. And I usually did it when I used to hunt too, because my father and I used to go out west. We would backpack mules and horses up in to shoot elk and mule deer. And so I'm used to that kind of lifestyle of getting way back away from civilization, and being able to carry yourself in a positive way in case something happens. That way there's no, obviously it could be dangerous things, but I'm pretty much prepared for every situation not every, but almost every situation. And that's why I carry that trauma kit, and food and water for purification. Now, I don't carry water for purification tablets anymore. I carry those life straws. They're priceless and they're cheap. And you can use one over and over again for, I forget how many gallons. They say like 30 gallons. So I carry a couple of them for that very reason. Let's see. Dante said, I bought a new Himalayan. Any advice on how to tie camping equipment to the basic Himalayan? Yeah, that back rack and the seat. And what I would do is, you've got some tie down places along the side, meaning that you can use, I don't like to use bungee cords because they bump. What I like to use is small ratchet straps. And you can use the back seat and the rear luggage rack, if you will. You can use those as anchoring points, and then strap it down. Don't strap it underneath like around the circle, because then you hit your tire. But use that and the bars along there and use small ratchet straps. That's what I've been doing recently. Now, I probably should show you one, and I think maybe in one of the next videos that I do is I'll show you how I strap things together, because you can put your backpack on there and you can strap your tent on top of it, and if you're using ratchet straps, you can get a pretty good snug. Now, don't over tighten it. That's obviously common sense, but that's what I do. Ratchet straps is far superior to bungee cords. Bungee cords give, and I don't want give. I want solid. And I carry fuel bottles too, but I've always carried fuel bottles. There's a company in Cleveland called Lowbrow Customs, and they sell small little, they look like thermoses. This is my water bottle, so don't put gasoline in it, but they have fuel bottles that are similar to this, that are made specifically for gasoline, and I carry 2 of those with me when I go on long distance trips, and that way I have extra fuel and everything else. Hope I answered some questions there. Cheers. Yep. What's he saying there? Use Gorilla Glue. Yeah. Of course, you're going to say that, and that could be true. I like Gorilla Glue, but not to hold stuff on my bike. Although I do carry Gorilla Glue with me in my backpack for that very reason. It is a very good. The Gorilla Super Glue is really good for that kind of situation, and it's also in my medical kit, because one of the things that super glue is invented for, not a lot of people know that, is for wound trauma in Vietnam. And so they would hold it together and pinch it together, and in case you don't have a suture or a Band-Aid, that you can tie your skin together and not stop the bleeding. I also carry, you're going to love this, for cooking and for blood clot. There's a thing called clots. I can't remember the name of it. It's a quick clot. But what works better and cheaper is cayenne pepper powder. And I will use cayenne pepper and put it in deep wounds, and after I wipe it off, it'll stop the bleeding. So something to remember is cayenne pepper. I know people think, oh, it'll burn. Yeah, it'll burn, but it'll stop the bleeding. And that's better than quick clot because it's cheaper. Let's see, duct tape. Yeah, we've got a lot of good answers on there, but I wouldn't recommend any of those. Let's see, Lance says, Green Chili Adventure Gear makes a ratcheting bungee. They work stunningly. Use them. Oh, that's good. I've never heard of that, and that's kind of cool. I'm just not, the only reason I don't like bungees is because it bounces, and I don't want any play. I want it solid. And but if it's something that you find it works, man, use it. I'm the first to admit that I don't know everything, and I'm willing to learn at every turn. Juan, hey, how you doing, Juan? I'm glad to see you today too, as well. So we've got 25 people watching. Yay! It's getting bigger and bigger. We like that. And cheers to the 25 people. Like I say, if you had any more specific questions, that was a great one there, Dante. And I'm glad you asked that. Like I said, I hope that helps you out a little bit. Sig says, Nelson Rig and Wildheart make some affordable waterproof soft panniers on Amazon, but I think I really want the Moto Moscow Motos. Yeah, I was looking at those too, and also there's another company that I like too called Wolfman, and they make a lot of stuff. Wolfman Luggage out of, I can't remember where they're at, Colorado, someplace like that. But they make some really good stuff too, but again, you're talking $400 or $500, and for this old redneck, that kind of money is, I take time. Like I said, everybody thinks, well, you must have a lot of stuff because you got a lot of Harleys. Yeah, but I buy a lot of used parts, and one of the things I showed in one of my Instagram pieces was a handlebar, a new drag bar set, a one-piece drag bar set for my Toad Glide. I paid $20 for, and it's chrome. It had a little bit of surface rust on it, but I got a good polish and a little bit of elbow grease, and man, it looks almost brand new. There's a few deep nicks in it, but the chrome isn't taken off of it. It just deep nicks into the chrome, and that kind of stuff pretty much is the essence of all my motorcycles. I don't buy new parts, unless it's something like electrical or wiring, which you guys will see this if you've been following my Instagram, and if you haven't, Instagram.com/Ol Man Ronin. I put a lot of pictures and stuff like that, and I'm working on my daughter's Harley, putting a handlebar job on, and it was going smooth as silk until I pulled the old wires out of the old bars that the guy before owned it, and he had cut the wires instead of doing a depinning. Let me give you a piece of advice. If any of you guys really want to do a handlebar job or ever want to work on wiring, learn how to depin or take it to a professional. Because if you cut wires and splice, you make my life hell. And that's exactly what I went through with her bike. I had to literally go and have parts ordered, brand new parts ordered from Harley Davidson, which costs an arm and a leg, to finish rewiring her handlebars because the guy before just did a horrendous job. So, well, S says, S, what's your first name? Because I never could figure it out. And then let's see, Chip Seal Rider. Chip and Seal Rider. Well, that's you'd be at home around here. Welcome. But like I said, we're all drinking here. Cheers. Like I say, tell me what you're drinking. That'd be fine. I'd like to see what everybody else is having on a Sunday evening here at a little after 6. Stuart. Okay, Stuart. Now I'll remember. Reminds me of Mad TV. Looky what I can do. You probably get that. Well, maybe not. You may be too young. Chip says thanks. Thanks for seeing you. Like I said, we're drinking a little bit of Monkey Shoulder tonight, not because we're sponsored, because we really like it. Bush Light, that's great. How about you, Andy and Stuart? What are you guys drinking? And Juan? Juan's having a cold beer, and Stuart's gone grr, Mad TV. Well, see, we can get back at you for some of your goofy comments. How's that? But Stuart's drinking Budweiser. Like I said, it's I normally do a PBR or a Rolling Rock. It's my beer of choice for live streams and things like that. But I'm enjoying some Monkey Shoulder tonight just because I really like it. Sig, it's Andy, says he's a bourbon guy, so he's drinking some Weller Antique, and I love that. That's a very good bourbban. I have quite a few different bourbons in my stash because I'm a bourbon guy too. But once in a while, I go to the dark side and have scotch. See, Juan's drinking beer. Bill says red wine, so very fine. And Bruce is drinking Crown Royal. Well, again, I love my red wine too. I'll tell you what, we had an adventure a couple years ago before the lockdown where we went to visit my aunt, who is basically one of the only older relatives of mine still alive, out in Pleasanton, California, and it's right near Livermore, California. And there's a Harley dealer there, and I went and I visited them, and they're great people. But they absolutely have, in that area, some of the best red wine I've had in America. Gary's Rambling says, hi, Ol Man Ronin, saw that they were making a 650 Himalayan. I heard they are, and I've heard they aren't. Let me give you my opinion on that. The 650 in the Interceptor and the Continental is a fantastic motor that I've heard. I've never ridden one, so I don't know. But what I've heard is it really runs good. But it's a traditional twin, which means it's going to be a little higher revving. I really want to keep that long stroke single cylinder in that type of bike. And there's a reason why, as you'll see on Wednesday's video, I took my Himalayan back into some really thick, slow, twisty, rough terrain, and it basically was idle, and well, I shouldn't say idle, but basically idle speed, barely moving enough to keep my feet on the pegs and walking it using the friction zone through this really twisty, curvy, hilly area. And I do not think a higher revving motorcycle would do this well, but that's just my opinion. So if they make it, great. I'll stick with the single cylinder. Kevin says, ginger beer and scotch, a bit of lime. Yeah, there you go. Basically a scotch mule, in other words. Let's say Juan says, watching from Colombia. Let's see, I have high standards, sometimes Miller Lite. Yep. Yeah. Another one says, it's really hard to tell if they're making it or not. And I don't know. Who knows? Stuart says, my Hemi pulls me out of almost any, and it does. And Kevin says, yep, not sure about that rumor. Yeah, like I said, I've heard it. And again, I don't have any ties with Royal Enfield other than the fact that I really like that Himalayan. And I've been a fan of their motorcycles. I've ridden some of the older ones, the Bullets and stuff in the past. And I really like it. I almost bought one of those back in the early 2000s. We had a dealer that was close to me. Well, I shouldn't say close to me. It was in Canton, Ohio, but that was fairly close to me. That was the only one in Northern Ohio. And I test rode one and really liked it. And in fact, that's the dealership that bought my 650 Honda. I had an 83 650 Honda up until then. And I sold it to them in 2015, something like that. But yeah, they did the vintage bikes as well too, and then they did the Royal Enfield. But you know, like I said, I really enjoyed the way they rode, and you know, that old style is what I like. I'm not a big plastic fan, and I don't really like a lot of plastic on motorcycles. That's just me. Let's see. Bill says, took a Himalayan for a test ride. I'm from Wisconsin. Could not get it up over 65 against the wind. What do you think? Yeah, that's probably right. It's not made for that. It is a, you know, there's the hashtag that they use is all roads, no roads. And the reason they say that is because it's built for mostly off-road, and I get in trouble a lot by saying that word third world. So let's say undeveloped roads. And some of those are in Ohio here too. We have some roads that are pretty rough. And that's what the bike is built for. It's built for those kind of roads, places that don't have 70-mile-an-hour highways. And so if you think of it that way, that it's going to be good. Now, I've taken it 2 up over 65 miles an hour with me and my wife, but that was in Florida here. I've had her in Ohio up to that speed too, but we filmed it down in Florida. There's a couple videos on it. But the reality of it is that motorcycle is built for off-road and back roads and country roads and gravel roads and dirt roads and deer trails and things like that, as opposed to the super highways. It's built for cities too. I mean, it's a great city bike as well too. I have a video about on that. It's called "Can It Take It?" And I basically go on all the roads and give my honest opinion on what I think. And what I think is the Himalayan capable to go on the highway? Yes. I wouldn't do it, simply because it's too hard on that little engine. You can get it up there at 55, 6,000, 6,200 RPM, right, almost a red line, and you can run her there at 70 miles an hour when you're by yourself unloaded, and it'll stay there. You're not going to have any passing speed. But the problem with that is you're running it. I never like to run a bike not at 90% of its red line for more than a half an hour, because it's not good on it. And I mean, it's going to cause a lot of heat and a lot of friction. I'd rather stay. So I like to comfortably ride that motorcycle between 45 and 5,700 RPM, and I'm happy there. And that's going to get me in the 65 below speed, and no issues whatsoever, even 2 up. Let's see. Duckman says, I feel bad I don't drink. How sad. You know, you don't have to. You can have a Pepsi. Let's see. Sig says Hemi will do 73 for a while, and he's mentioning the same thing I did. Dante says, how do you feel the new crash bars? It looks more about, you mean the ones that I put on? I love them. I think they're fantastic. And other than me purposely laying the bike down, I haven't dropped it yet, knock on wood, so I don't know how it's going to protect it. And to see, hey, I've seen you for a while. How you doing? Simplicity and ruggedness. Oh, I just had a pop-up. Get out of here, pop-up. Simplicity and ruggedness are the strengths of the Himalayan, a twin will add weight. Again, he's basically saying everything that I've ever said in any of my videos, and I agree with him 100%. Kevin says a short freeway ride to get to the trail. And true, as long as you're not revving up for hours and hours and hours, I agree. Juan says it'll take you anywhere, but it is not built for speed. Now, and then again, that's not what it's for. If you want something that's going to go 70 plus, buy yourself a Harley Sportster, buy yourself a BMW R, 18, a Road King, pretty much any motorcycle, insert there, except for the Himalayan, because that's not what it's built for. Duckman says, heck, my KLR 650 won't cruise at 75. And again, that's not what those smaller bikes are built for. I mean, even the Sportster 883s, I don't like to run on the highways over 75 miles an hour for a long period of time. It's not the place for them. Now, I did give a little bit of advice to not Himalayan, but Royal Enfield, whether they'll believe it or not, or whether they take it or not. I said, maybe drop the ratios of the gears a little bit between 3, 4, and 5 and add 6, and to give us a little bit more. And I know a lot of guys are changing the front sprocket and the rear sprocket, and that way they can get a little bit more. But then you lose a little bit of that low end torque, which I really love. And again, the video on Wednesday is going to show exactly why I love the low end torque, because I'm able to literally crawl through these deer trails. Again, when I cut the stuff out, what I meant was I took all the briars out. I did use a chainsaw in a few places where there were some trees falling down. I did not drop any trees. I will not do that. But there's trees that fell down. And we have the ash borer here in Ohio. It's been killing a lot of our ash and some of our elms, slippery bark elms. And so what you do if you get a tree across a deer trail, they'll walk over it, but I can't climb over that with my bike. So what I did is I cut out a little section that I can ride through it. And then most of it was wild roses, which are the bane of my existence. I hate wild roses. They have no purpose whatsoever. And so I cut a lot of those out. But I followed the deer trails, and it's kind of windy and twisty. And you'll see in the video on Wednesday. I really like it. And there's some really cool stuff. One of the things I like to do is in areas that I like to go to, I like to put a game camera out. I've got one of the Browning Recon Force. I can't remember how you pronounce it, but there's some really cool video that I'm going to include in the video of a couple young deer, a nice 12, 14 pointer. I think she's a 12 pointer. He's a 12 pointer. And then some wild turkey that you're going to get a kick out of if you like that kind of thing. Let's see. Juan says, I wish I had a 6-gear too. Again, those are you. But again, how often do you ride on the highway with it? And is that the purpose? If you want a bike that's going to be able to do the highway, there's probably, you'd be better off with a GS. It's not necessarily the 310, but the bigger ones. But on the other aspect of it, when I was back in this big area that I cleared out here a couple weekends ago, if I had a GS, I would have been in such trouble, because there was so much mud back in the low areas down there, and I was able to back myself out a little bit because I still have stock tires on. I was able to back myself out, and the GS, man, I wouldn't be able to move it. It would have been stuck, and I'm by myself. And so that's something to be aware of when you're thinking of a motorcycle for trail riding. Can you lift it? Can you move it? Can you back it up by yourself? The Himalayan, every time. See, Juan says, yeah, that's the same thing. He says, bought a KTM 390 to go on the highway, but still small and light. Again, KTM's a great motorcycle. Good for you. Do you trust a Himalayan to go on a trip across America? Well, I'm taking it on one here in the summer. As soon as the pass is open in the Rocky Mountains, which will be for sure in the end of June, 1st of July, that's when we're going to start. That's the schedule, unless there's something crazy happen like COVID. The big GS 600 pounds. And, when I was in shape, and we're talking when the last time I was in shape was when I was in my 50s, I would have probably been easier for me to haul around a GS. I just can't do it now. I don't have the strength I used to. I had people that follow me know that I had a pretty bad accident back in 2013 that I had to recover from, and I've never been able to get fully back. I'm back to where I can ride, so I'm happy with that. But as far as anything more than that, no, we're not there. We got 36 people watching. Thanks, guys. Cheers to you. I'm going to have to pour some more booze here in a minute. Let's see. Well, I had jumped real quick, but apparently a bunch of people started talking at the same time. Do you put an ECU on your Himalayan? Because I watch Itchy Boots and she put on her bike and it helped a lot. I don't know if it's going to help a lot or not. I have on all my other motorcycles, I have either a Fuel Pack 3 or a Thunder Max. But as far as what I've seen, and this is cost effectiveness versus output, and I'm not seeing anything greater than 15% in horsepower or torque. For the cost amount of money, whether it's the booster plug or the ECU, that's not worth it. I will compensate by better riding skills. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Because now, if it was going to give me 25 to 35% boost in power, like my Fuel Pack 3s do, and my which is 25%, and my Thunder Max, which is right around 35% more power in torque, every day I'd do it because it would be cost effective. But it's not cost effective for me. For you, go ahead. But everything that I've seen, whether they've been put on the only thing that I've seen is increased it, and not even that much, is that Hitchcock's 465 kit, and they only got 20%. To get a more desirable horsepower, it would have to be at least a 500cc engine. And they could do that with that. I think they could probably do that with that engine without too much changes. But I'm happy with what it is. Let's see. Gary says, my GS is set up for off-road, and if I drop it in the mud, which happens after 4 drops, I'm dead. And that's kind of one of the reasons, Gary, that and you're probably a hell of a lot younger and a hell of a lot better shape than I am. And that's one of the reasons why well, plus money-wise, I chose the Himalayan, because it was a lot lighter. I don't know what size GS you have, but like I said, it's one of the things that convinced me not to look that direction. There's a YouTube channel called Ride On Amigos, and it used to be called Moto Trek, but he changed his name. But he has a big 1250, and he rides it the Trans-America Trail and everywhere else. But when he drops it, and he's done it several times, he always has a guy with him, a friend of his. They always ride 2 or 3 people, and he has to get help to lift it, or he has to completely unload it, lift it up, and then reload it. And I watched him do that 4 or 5 times, and he's a big guy. He's like 6'5", something like that. I'm too old. Mr. Biker Cat says, hello there. Purchased the anti-fog film that you used, and during this past winter didn't have any issue. I'm telling you, I was really impressed with that thing. He's talking about that Handstat fog insert, and you can see it on a few of my videos. And I mean, I'll tell you what, I was having the early winter videos, because I had that new helmet, that new Zox helmet, and I was having a dickens of a time, trying to keep the fog out, and I would be lifting it up, my face would be cold, wind noise, yada, 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 back and forth. I tried a rub-on cream. It did not work at all. I bought from Amazon. I'm not going to mention it because I don't speak badly of stuff. So I didn't, except like Hondas. But anyway, I didn't like it at all. So everybody was saying pin lock, pin lock, pin lock. And I was looking at the cost of them, and they didn't make the one specifically for my helmet. And I seen this on Amazon, and I bought it, and it's been perfect. I'll get tremendous fog around the outside of it, but nothing on it. And I'm glad you had the same experience there. That's awesome. Let's see. Enfield Himalayan says, same here on the Himalayan. I picked it up by myself 2 times yesterday. Apparently, I didn't learn. Let's see. Stuart says, dinner's ready. Thanks for the info. Hey, Stuart, thanks. I really appreciate you stopping by and all your goofy answers or questions. Sean says, hey, what's up, man? How are you? I'm great, Sean. Thank you. I appreciate you asking. Gary Rambling says, 1250 GS. That's what I figured. And they're not light, man. I mean, they're not like a Harley, but they're still not. And bad story. The other day, I'm up in the garage and I'm moving bikes around to be able to move stuff around. I pulled the Road King out, flipped the what do you call it, the kickstand down. Luckily, I had a piece of cardboard, and the crash bars landed on the cardboard but that was a struggle picking that son of a gun up. That thing's well over 800 pounds. So that was a little. Gary says he's 6'4", 240, ex-military. But how old are you? It is good. It was 63. So yeah, you're the same age as me. Yeah, I mean, I'm under. I used to be 6'3". I'm under that now. I shrunk a little bit, and I weigh about 230. So we're similar, but yeah, it's getting harder. Juan says, I also got the pin lock and anti-fog to my helmet. It's great. Thank you as well. Sean says, it was good meeting you at Throttle a few weeks back. Oh, hey, Sean. Yes, I'm glad you met. I'll tell you what, and I made sure we did a shout-out to you on the video as well, too, and we'll give you another shout-out. I always love meeting people who watch us on the video channel, and I got to keep pretending not to watch down here and start looking at the camera because this gets annoying, I know. But I really did enjoy meeting you, and Andy as well, too. It was really great seeing you. And then, of course, Biker Babe Beth was there as well. And she's a character and a half, I'll tell you. But she's young. I think I need to fill up. And we'll throw a little bit more of this cream soda in there, too. Cheers, everybody. Oh, if you haven't got little bit of shameless promotion here. Haven't got your Ol Man Ronin sticker yet. That Etsy page I've got. Just go to any of the descriptions and hit on that, and we're selling them all over the world. And we have Ol Man Ronin crew t-shirts coming soon. If you're a Patreon for a while, you're going to get a free t-shirt. But if you're not a Patreon, they're not going to be expensive. I've got a really good deal on them, and like I say, I really appreciate it. We're going to have a contest too. I'm going to announce it on the regular YouTube channel, but it's primarily for guys with Harley Davidsons. And the reason why I say that is I was sent a whole light kit for the front, LED light kit, like a Daymaker style, and they work great. They're beautiful. If you have a blacked out bike, it would be perfect for you. I have a chromed out bike, so I put them on, did a video on it. You'll see that coming up, but I'm going to take them off and give them away. And I haven't decided how to do it yet, but if you have a Harley Road King or any of the touring models, Softail with the passing lights, any of those like the Heritage or the Deluxe, or the Road King or the Road Glide or the Street Glide, start thinking about what we've got some free lights we're going to give people. Let's see. Munta, hello, how you doing, Munta? Says, just sold my 1200 RS and just ordered a new Himalayan. Awesome, congratulations. He said, I'll get mine mid-April and I can't wait. 5 years and realize that you don't need the big CC bikes to have fun. You know, that's I've always been in that frame of mind. I've had 550s, 650s, 850s, 750s, 883s, 1000s, even 1200s. If you're in the Harley world, anything less than a 1400 is considered small. And to me, that's bullcrap. I think that any motorcycle you're having fun on, and I've said it before, I don't care if you're on a 125 or a 2300, you're a CC motorcycle, you're going to have a blast on it. Duck says, oh, by the way, thank you very much for the sticker you sent. Oh, I'm glad you got one. I think I'd say basically we had a promotion a couple months back where if you sent me your email address to your mailing address in my email, and we may do that again in the future, but not right now. We need to make a little bit of money to pay for this hobby. Jeff says Kawasaki Vulcan 900 Classic. That's great. Again, I've never had a Kawasaki. I've ridden several of them. My buddy had a KZ, KZ 1000, and I used to like to ride that. Back in those days, I had a GS 1100 ES. And we used to race all the time and have a lot of fun with that. But it was a good, again, I've had Honda, Suzuki's, Yamahas, never a Kawasaki, but I've enjoyed all the motorcycles I've ever had. So let's see. Sean says, I see her two wheels was eating from, yeah, I haven't seen that video. She came over and had some of our food, so I'm glad. Where did you see that at, Sean? Is it on her new YouTube post? I usually see all of her stuff, but I have a real life too, so I haven't been able to see everything. So yeah, she's a great girl. Jess and her husband Jordan are fantastic people. And since we're mentioning other YouTubers, Shade Tree Surgeon down there in Florida, he's just did this thing with the Forgotten Angels, and I really, really want you guys to encourage you to go visit his channel and check out. They're giving away the Road King Kong, which is a 131 cubic inch Harley Davidson. Now, I shouldn't say they're giving away, it's a raffle, but go check it out. The Forgotten Angels is about the kids who graduate out of foster care, and basically they just throw them in the street. And this organization down there helps put them in houses, get them a job, and start them on their life. And I think it's it brings a tear to my heart. So I know it's a little off subject, but go check out Shade Tree Surgeon and Weems Motor Company and Flipknot and all those guys down there, and watch their videos and learn a little bit about this, Forgotten Angels. It's a great cause. Sean says, no, I already seen that. Kawasaki Vulcan 900 Classic. Okay, we saw that. Brian, hey, Brian, how you doing? Himalayan is a great all-arounder for little money. He has a 1200 GS as well, and it's starting to get a little too heavy for the 60. Yeah, you're a little older than me, so man, you're probably in better shape than I am. But I'll tell you, the weight of these motorcycles will weigh on you. And into particularly where I ride, again, you'll see a lot of other Himalayan guys that'll be out there on trails and jumping around. And I mean trails that are regular roads, like fire roads. The places that I go are not. There are no roads. There are no fire trails. It is basically deer trails that I've widened out with a machete. And I'll tell you, and I don't go off the deer trails, so it's a lot of this. And you're on the clutch all the time. Low throttle, low RPM, very low speed. Literally, you could probably walk the trail faster than I'm actually riding it. And those are the kind of things that I've always loved to do. It's one of the things I've always done. I mean, back when I had dirt bikes, I'd do the same thing. Yeah, I'd like to go fast, but if I want to go really fast, I got Harleys for that. And trust me, I've got them built. They are really fast for a Harley. Maddie says, hey, Ronin, took an early lunch to try to catch part of the chat. I'm glad you did. Welcome. Keep up the vids. I treat the Hemi as a people mover. I'm comfortable with what I own, and and that's the whole idea. And if you get anything out of my channel, what I would really hope you guys would do is get the aspect that all motorcycles are fantastic. Well, maybe Hondas. But no, seriously, all motorcycles are fantastic, and I love every one of them. Each have a different feel. I consider a motorcycle like a tool chest, and there's different ones for different things. And the one that you buy or the one that you own is the one that fits the job that you have for it. Like I say, if your job consists of running down an interstate at 75, 80 miles an hour all day long, the Himalayan isn't the right tool. That's the tool for the Road King, the Gold Wing, the big BMW cruisers, things like that. Those are the places for that. If you're looking for a bike that's going to do the deer trails like I'm doing, well, those bigger bikes aren't for that. So you have to figure out your riding style first. I think I did a video called "Is the Himalayan Right for You?" where we talked about different things in different ways, what the bike will do, what it can do, and what it's capable of, and what it doesn't do very well. In between, can it take it, and is the bike right for you? I think those videos will give you a good aspect of what you should be looking for. Let's see. Juan says, are you planning to make hoodies? I'm going to do a whole lot of stuff, Juan, and hoodies will definitely be in the mix. We're doing T-shirts first. Cheers. Simply because that's going to be, I want to measure the market. I want to see how many people are interested. And we're going to do a lot of different sticker designs too, a lot of different T-shirt designs. We're going to do like a different T-shirt design every year. They won't be labeled year. We're going to have the Ronin crew, and then we'll have a new design for every year or every couple months or something like that. And when they're gone, they're gone. There'll be no more of that style anymore. I think that way we can keep things fresh. I like to do that kind of stuff. I used to have a motorcycle website back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was hugely popular. I never talk about it online because it was actually in my ex-wife's name, and I don't want to give her any press. But we were hyper popular. That's all I'll say. Let's see, 29-year-old nurse here just bought a Himalayan because of a lot of your. Oh, well, thank you. Took a quick question. Is it easy to swing your leg over the Himalayan with the big pannier boxes? Well, I don't know. However, I can tell you that one of the best ways to get on a Himalayan when you're starting out is to step up on the peg and swing your leg around. My wife is shorter. She's only 5'4", and how she gets on the bike is that. She puts her foot on the peg, steps on, and swings her leg over. So if you do that, make sure you're on firm ground, obviously, but if you do that, you'd be able to mount the bike without any problem whatsoever. If you're doing it from a straight stand, I've got a 34-inch inseam, so it's nothing for me, even if there was panniers on it or not. But my wife is 5'4", and she puts her foot up on the left-hand side and steps on it and raises up over top, no issue whatsoever. Let's see. I'd like to try Himalayan with this is N4ZUO. Don't know what that is. Himalayan with an adventure sidecar on it. Yeah, again, I think that'll come out in the future. There's going to be, I think it's so popular now that there's going to be a lot of aftermarket stuff. It's so popular, the Chinese knocked it off already. Can you believe that? I don't know what it's called. I seen a picture the other day, and I went, what? It looks identical to the Himalayan. But anyways, they basically are going to probably be making sidecars for it as well too, particularly off-road style sidecars. I think that's going to be coming. Matty B says, I hope that's a proper bourbon. It normally is, Matt, but I'm drinking scotch tonight. This is Monkey Shoulder. It's a blended scotch, and I really like it. And I'm a big bourbon head, and I love the scotch. And you can see this is only a couple days old. I either have a problem or I like it. Maybe I have both. Sean says, I agree with what you're saying. I think it would be nice to take a Himalayan to Hocking Hills Windy Nine this summer. Well, I mean, you know, that's right down the road. And I've been on Triple Nickel already with it last year. I didn't film anything with it. I wanted to see how it would go. And also quite a few of the other roads down there. I mean, that's in my backyard. There are a lot of roads around me that are actually better than Triple Nickel. And so, yeah, I don't have to go that far. But it is cool. I mean, we have Southeast Ohio, you shouldn't say that, Eastern Ohio, all the way from Youngstown South down to Marietta has fantastic roads. Let's see, Think Mud says, the Himalayan does what it can, do good, and tries to do what it can't a lot. You can ride the highway, but not. Yeah, and again, Think Mud, if you watched any of my videos, in particular the Can It Take It, I go over that pretty much starting with from deer trails to the super highways, 70-mile-an-hour roads. And it can do everything, just the highway is not very well. It's above its pay grade. Military guys will appreciate that. Brian says, the bike will suit everyone to do everything. Hasn't been made and probably never will exist. You're right. You're exactly right. Juan says, any spare parts cheap for the Himalayan? If you can get them, all the parts are cheap. The reason I say that, well, in America here at least, Juan, I had a side panel that was broken when I got the bike because it was a used bike, and it cost $10. Oil filters are like $4. Harley oil filters, $16. Well, you can get some better deals than that, but anyway. Iron Rider says, I really enjoy the Himalayan content and considering getting my Sportster a stablemate. The ability to go off-road is appealing to me. Yeah, you know, I've been riding Sportsters and other bikes like that back in some of my camping, but there's places that I really like to go, and I have to park my Sporty and walk back in, and that's not for me. It's the reason I got the Himalayan. It was either, and I had literally tried, I bought the 1200 in anticipation of turning it into a scrambler, and after dropping it on purpose and driving it really slow around my backyard for an hour at a time, and watch the heat just bail out of that thing, nope. I was either going to get a KLR, which I really like that motorcycle as well, a used one, but this Himalayan fell on my lap and I had to jump on it. Logan says, I know there is a 650 Himalayan coming in India first, then US probably a year later. He's excited, but if it gets more expensive than the new KLR, it may lose dual sport battle in the US. That's just a rumor. I have no idea. And again, I hope not. I don't think it needs it. That's just me. Maddie B says, I don't have a drinking problem either. I can hang with the floor by myself, exactly. Mark says, I'll have to send you a good Irish whiskey. You know, I love good Irish whiskeys too. I love, what is it? My uncle used to say this when he was talking about fishing. He goes, what's your favorite fish to eat? And he goes, I know them by their last name, fish. You know, we are redneck. We're Appalachian rednecks. And I say the same thing with whiskey. I know it by its last name, whiskey. Cheers, guys. Sig says, thoughts on the RE factory handguards? That's what I'm going to get. Ever thought about driving the Himalayan to the Himalayan? I'm taking donations because I would love it. That's one of my bucket list trips is to go over there. I know Royal Enfield has it before COVID, has a trip that they take guys up into the Himalayas, and I would love it. So, money. Hey, Lance, thank you. Everybody give cheers to Lance. He just gave us a big super chat. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Every little bit helps, man, and I do appreciate it. Thank you. Nice prices. Juan says that. Ever thought, okay. And Lance says, love the channel, have a beer on me. I appreciate it, Lance, like I said. Muta says, signified I'm getting them fitted to a new bike prior to pickup. They look good quality. Thor says, cheers. Hey, how you doing, Thor? Long time no see or hear. Like I said, Evan, you guys, I just really appreciate all of you. You're really helping the channel grow. We have 42 people watching now, and that's really outstanding, and I love it, and I really enjoy having these conversations over and over again. We've already been talking, 50 minutes, and that's fantastic, because I'm long-winded, and I really love answering questions to my ability. And the reason I say that, there's two things that I have a fault at. Number one, I have no ties to Royal Enfield, Harley-Davidson, Yamaha, Suzuki, any motor company. I am a lone wolf, hence the name Ronin. I've got that nickname back 40 years ago because I've been that kind of a guy. I've always been a standalone kind of guy. I've always done a lot of stuff on my own. Not that I don't appreciate help, because people like Lance there just gave me some really good help, and I really appreciate it. I just have always been a backwoods country boy who does stuff on his own, and that's kind of how I got the nickname, and that's kind of how I am, and every little bit helps. I really appreciate it, and I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Maddie says, had the factory guards tossed them for some decent bank bark busters. They work, but they have no inboard support, and well, there's a good. He broke his. So there, if you want to have any information there, Andy, Matty B has some practical experience. The other part that I don't have is for what I was mentioning before is the fact that I not only do I not have any ties with any corporations or anything like that, but I don't have access to some of the motorcycles that people want me to test ride. I get it all the time saying, hey, can you test ride a Continental? Can you test ride an Interceptor? The dealership that sells them, Throttle Company, fantastic people, but they're not open the days that I have off. I have Monday and Tuesdays off, and it's hard. So access is very hard. Let's see. N4 says, it's not how fast you ride, it's how much you enjoy the ride. And if you guys watch my channel, one thing you'll know all the time about any of the motorcycles I ride is they make me smile. I have a blast. My son came in yesterday, which is one of the reasons why we decided to postpone the video because it had a tremendous amount of editing. It was going to be a half an hour, 45 minutes long, and I chopped it down to 16 minutes. There's so much good content that I have for future reference, but to stay more current, I chopped it down. But my son came in. He lives in Hawaii, and he's heading back on Tuesday, and he wanted to come in and ride with me. We haven't ridden together in a long time. And he doesn't have a current license right now. He let it expire, and so he's going to get his license when he's down in Hawaii. And I'm going to build him a motorcycle for when he comes back. He's going to move back in about a year and a half. So I'm going to buy him a Sportster or something like that and build it for him. And that's kind of why we took yesterday to. Normally that's my editing day for today. It is what it is. Well, any more questions, guys? Somebody asked me what's my next mod on the Himalayan, and it will be the handguards. And I am buying they haven't come yet, but the Royal Enfield. I'm getting them from India. That's where they're coming in from. Maddie says, I have to go to work. Everybody stay safe and enjoy the ride. You as well, Maddie. Thank you. Cheers. And everybody say goodbye to Maddie. And really enjoyed having you here. Duckman says, can't wait for the Himalayan content to kick, or the Harley content to kick off. Don't get me wrong, I like the Himalayan, but I'm a Kawasaki Harley Davidson guy at heart. And again, if you watch my videos, you know that I am too. I've got a couple Harley stuff in the works. I've got one that's a family ride on the Road King. I've got one where I'm rebuilding the Toad Glide. And I've got one where I'm putting new, as far as the spacer or the risers, new risers on my and headlights in the Deluxe. That's going to be some Harley content, plus riding him afterwards and stuff like that. So I tell you what, I love that Deluxe, and it's now that they quit making them in 2020. It's you know, normally what I do is I ride a bike until I get bored with it and I sell it. The Softail Deluxe will stay with me forever now. So will my Road King and my Sportster 1200. Maddie says Kawasaki makes Harleys. Well, they do. No, I'm just kidding. When are you going camping? That's one of them has already been done. It hasn't been edited yet. Actually, I've got a couple episodes that have already been done. We're behind on a lot of stuff. In other words, I film and then put stuff on my hard drive or my spare drive, and then I come back and I edit when it's appropriate. So I think the video that's coming out Wednesday was done. And that's kind of a current one because I wanted to show you that before I did the other stuff. Because the place I go to that I do camping is private property, and it is it's way back, and you know, it's back in the hills. And so there's a big farmer's field next to it, and I camp sometimes on the outside, and there'll be some of that. I call it my base camp, and it's pretty cool. That's where I do a lot of the stuff, but there's some other places that are going to be shown as well too. I've got like 15 different places that I go camping at, and they're all different. So Duckman says thank you for that. Let's see. Iron Rider says stay safe. That's great. He's wishing Maddie. Mocha says hi from Sweden. Do you serve your Himalayan services itself? Great question. Oil changes, yes. In fact, I have one in the works that I haven't published yet. It's a oil change service with the little screen and everything. Cleaning that out, not only the oil filter, but the little screen where the oil plug is. A lot of people don't realize there's a little screen in there to catch material as well too. I'm going to be that will come out maybe in a couple weeks. I haven't decided yet when I'm going to actually edit that. But as far as the tappets or the valves, I really prefer to do a video with a tech. Not that I can't or am not doing it. I just prefer to have, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to have somebody to try to do it on their own and then blame me for they didn't have the right feeler gauge. And so that's why I'm going to do the video based on the tech and go from there. Because if you screw that up, you will mess up your engine. Mark says, keep up the good work. Ronin, love the channel. Just sent whiskey your way. Hey, thank you. And Mark, cheers. Lance says, how much maintenance do you do on the Himalayan? Is it more than other bikes you've owned? I prefer riding to wrenching. The main thing is to keeping the chain lubed. Particularly, I've had a hell of a time riding in the snow because the chemicals they put on the road in Ohio make that chain rust like crazy. And in fact, I'm going to replace the chain, not because it's worn out. I just don't like the material it's made out of. I'm going to put a high performance chain on it, probably in the next month or so, maybe 2 months. But that's the big thing. As far as oil changes, I like to change the oil every 1,000 miles on a bike like that because I use the hell, excuse my language, out of the clutch. And since it's a single place for oil, engine oil and transmission oil, I want to make sure that I've got good oil in there all the time. I use the friction zone. If you guys don't, a lot of people, when they ride motorcycles, they don't use the friction zone. I don't know why. I don't know if they don't teach that in classes anymore or whatever, but they pull the car clutch in, shift the gear, and go instead of slow maneuvers. You know, when you're doing a slow maneuver, you're using the clutch as much as you're using the throttle and your brakes, and it's a combination of all. And a lot of people don't do that, and I don't understand. That's probably why a lot of people drop their bikes. They don't know how to do slow maneuvers. And in the dirt, you have to do slow maneuvers. I mean, you're basically standing up or sitting down even, and got your hand on that clutch part way just to where you got the friction, be able to crawl, and you're throttling at the right speed to like make you go, but not over throttle. And I think people that haven't mastered that technique, they probably drop their Harleys. They probably drop their other bikes as well too. They're trying to do a turn. They're not turning their head when they're into a corner. They're not using the friction zone at slow speeds to keep the wheels moving. They're pulling the clutch in and using the brake to stop. I mean, how many times have you seen a guy drop his bike because he hits his front brake when he's in a turn? Blows me out of the water. Anyway, Let's see. Harley lost the magic with the twin cam. They burnt a lot of people with that. There's a lot of thought on that. I love the Evo. It's my second favorite engine behind the Shovelhead. I'm a huge Shovelhead fan. I don't have any at the time right now, but I've had them in the past. Twin cams, they are great too. The Milwaukee 8, I have very little experience on because they're relatively new. I love the Evo over the twin cam, no doubt. Let's see. Sean says BMW now has maintenance-free chain on 2 of their bikes and very interested in. When somebody says maintenance-free to me, that means maintenance every 5,000 miles because you have to. It's not about things break down, and I don't care who you are. I don't care what it is. I see these companies are saying, you don't have to do an oil change for 50,000 miles. No, 3,000 miles, baby. That's when it gets changed. Fresh oil. Viscosity with heat and temperature, no matter what it is, breaks down. And the tolerances are so, if the tolerances are that sloppy in an engine that you don't need the lubrication as much, the viscosity, then I don't want that engine because it's going to break up. It's going to break down on you. One of the reasons why I use 2050 in Harleys or even higher, sometimes I use 60 weight in the summertime or even higher, is because I want that viscosity in those higher temperatures. That heat is what kills engines. And particularly, it's one of the reasons why I have the Himalayan over a Harley Sportster Scrambler is because it got too hot at low speeds. And I'm not racing up hills. You know, I get a kick out of watching all these Himalayan videos online where they're jumping here and jumping there and jumping here and jumping there. And I'm thinking, you know, if you live around me and you do that every day, your bike is going to have maintenance every single day. Because if you're jumping the kind of stuff that I've got around here, you're going to tear crap up. Take it easy. Slow and steady wins the races. Because if you're trying to jump over, now if you need to, that's great, but not all the time, guys. When your bike's flying in the air and it comes down hard, every bolt in that bike is going to suffer. It's called kinetic energy. Sorry. Let's see. Classes, they have class. Yeah, I know. I never took one, but you know what? I'm thinking about taking one. And the reason why I said that is because you're never too old to learn. And there's a slow class. It's actually a police bike class down in Florida that I'm thinking about doing next year. Is taking the Road King down there and taking that class. And just because, you know, I have never taken a motorcycle class a day in my life. My wife has, and my daughter has. I never have. And I know I have some bad practices. Even though I have 50-some years of experience, I know I have some bad practices. And I'd like somebody to tell me what they are, besides my wife. Lewis says, hi from Argentina. I really enjoy your videos. Thanks for sharing your experiences. I'm waiting for the delivery of your new Himalayan. Well, congratulations. Everybody take a drink for Lewis there. Congratulations, Lewis. Outdoors 44 says, practice, practice, practice. Don't be afraid to drop your bike. That way I ride a 650 V-Strom. And again, you're going to drop your bike. And if you don't, you're probably not, I shouldn't say you're not riding your full potential. That's not true. You're extremely lucky. That's all I'll say. Mark says, any comments on hard panniers versus soft? Hard panniers on the road, soft off-road. You drop a bike with hard panniers in the places I'm at, they're bent to hell, and I'd rather have the soft ones for that very reason. Now, if I'm riding around town and want to keep stuff lockable without being able to rip open with a knife, then yeah, the hard panniers would be the way to go. That's just me, though. Let's see. Juan says, would you say Harley Davidson is dying out in comparison with other manufacturers? No. Harley may not be selling right now, but they weren't back in the 70s either. Generations come and go. What's hot, what's old is new again. Harley, as long as they don't forget where the roots are. You're seeing a lot of the young millennial types that are after Dynas. I look for Harley to come back and release a larger engine bike with rear shocks like the Dynas were or the FXRs were, similar to a Sportster, to grab that attention of that age group. I think that'll happen. Indian just released their new Chief, and it basically is freaking Dyna. I mean, it's a Dyna. Say no more. The Softail is a great motorcycle, but it's heavier than the Dynas were, and people want that light with a big engine. And I think they'll do that maybe in 2022, 2023. I don't know, but the new president and CEO of Harley seems to be listening to Harley riders, and I think that's what's going to happen. I also think that they're going to come out with a smaller engine version of the Pan American, and they also introduced a new 300cc engine, Chinese made, for the Indian market too. It won't be available here though. Let's see. Lewis says hi from. Okay, I think I read that already. Where are we at? MTP says, hi, Old Man Ronin. Hey, how you doing? Is there a case for aftermarket Himalayan suspension riser upgrade? Your thoughts on taller and heavier? I would like to see a little bit more height, not in the bike itself, but in the seat. I'm almost 6'3". I used to be. Age does that to you. But I would like to get the seat a little higher because my knees are right on top of the tank guards, and I'd like to back that out a little bit. And I'd be honest with you, I'd like to have more of a flat seat than that step. That's just me. The aftermarket seat that's out there, there's one that you have to actually make it yourself. It's what's the name of that company? Seat Concepts, and it's an American company, but it's basically takes the old. You have to do it yourself. You take the old pan from your stock seat, and you pull the cover off of, and you put their cover with the padding in it, and it raises it up about a half an inch or something like that. I would love to see 1.5 to 2 inches higher, personally. Because it pushes me a little too far forward, and I'd like to sit back a little bit. But that is the only thing. As far as comfortability, it's fine, no problem. There's Jordan. Hey, Jordan, how you doing? It's not if you drop your bike, it's when. Exactly. That's what I say 1,000 times. It's just a matter of time, which is one of the reasons why I love the Himalayan and why I didn't do a Sportster, Scrambler, because I grabbed my 1200 Sportster, and if you're just viewing the channel or this live stream, I took it in my backyard, and I ran it around for like an hour and a half and got it as hot. I mean, it was hot. Low speed, under 15 miles an hour for an hour and a half. And it was just tink, 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 tink. You could smell the oil. You could feel the heat coming off of it. I did it in the dead of summer. And then after that, I laid it down, and I picked it up like 7 or 8 times when I loaded it down fully with all my gear. And I was like, you can tell I'm 62 years old. So I decided I'm going to look at either a KLR, and then this Himalayan fell in my lap, and boom, that's where she went. Let's see. Where are we at here, guys? Outdoors 44 says, I got back to riding motorcycles last year, but I've been riding bicycles all my life. I tell people to practice on bicycles. Again, it's on 2 wheels, so there's nothing wrong with that advice. Again, as long as you're moving at least 8 miles an hour on a motorcycle, it is going to want to stand up. Anything under 8, it'll want to fall over. I mean, it's basically like gyroscopic effect. Bigger tire in the front of the Himalayan really helps out. Same thing with the Harley Davidsons. The bigger tires in the front kind of helps them stay a little bit straighter, but it's one of those type of things. N-Force has got 45,000 miles out of a chain and sprockets on my Honda Shadow. Proper maintenance, long life. Exactly. What we talk about all the time. Maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. Oil changes constantly. Chain maintenance constantly. Like I said, the only problem I have with the chain on the Himalayan is the fact I think it's made of, I don't like the material it's made of, and I will put a high-performance chain on it because it needs it. It really needs it. Let's see. Mark says, I have to say that your introduction to Harleys has given me an interest in them. The sounds of those engines. That introduction sound is off of my 1250. The 1200 Custom, I turned into a 1250. It's a hammer kit. And that video was done right after I rebuilt the engine, and basically it's me out there starting it up and hitting the start button. And so I stole that when I recorded it and stuck it in with my intro. So what you're hearing is the 1250 with I've got a whole big set of high performance cams in it as well too. And if you watched that last video I had last week, or I think it was Wednesday, you can hear the good thump. Now, a lot of people say, why don't you have 2-in-1? I love the sound of those short shots, and they're baffle free and they sound beautiful. I got the right amount of back pressure with my FP3, and it sounds beautiful. And that's one of the reasons why I love that intro sound. Jordan says, Indian is victory. If you mean victory, they win. I don't know about that, but I'm just teasing. They're Polaris. They are. One of the problems I have with Indian is they will not let you test ride their motorcycles. Next, let's see. The next step is a trike with super swampers. You go, man. If anybody haven't got a chance to, Jordan has a YouTube channel, and his wife is Her Two Wheels. So you need to go visit him. Just click on his little face there on the chat and go visit him. And he's building a Sportster Scrambler right now, or is it finished? I'm not sure if it's finished or not. And then his wife, Her Two Wheels, is very, very, very popular. I think by now she probably has 100,000 subscribers by now, I'd imagine. I mean, she's really super popular. So, and they're local here. They both of them came to the food truck here a couple weeks ago, I guess now. So we're really happy to have them as friends. So Kim says, what's your opinion on Harley's new Pan America? You think it'll sell? I think anything Harley Davidson makes will sell, except for the Livewire. There's some that'll sell better than others. I want to really ride one. I want to see what it's like. I've ridden a lot of GSs now. Since I started doing this channel, I've had the opportunity to ride some, and I really enjoy them for what they are. And that's what I would compare them directly to. The big Multistrada from Ducati, and also the GS 1250. That's their primary target. Now, for me to purchase one, it's impossible. I ain't got that kind of money. For me to ride one where I want to ride it, it's impossible. It would be too heavy. But like I say, I need a bike that's under 500 pounds, just because it's who I am. Let's see. Sean says, it will not require lubrication as a dry lubricant, no adjustment due to industrial diamond coating. Bushings in the road, it's called M Endurance Chain. That's cool. Again, no idea. So if you know Sean, I don't. So put it out there. I can't wait to see that one, Jordan Ray. Again, visit Jordan's page, and like I said, if he's building a trike with big fat wheels on the back, it'll be awesome. we'll have to call him Mutter Jordan. Duckman said, I was looking for a Himalayan when the KLR dropped in my lap. Might get one after the Road King or Electric Glide. Again, KLR is a great motorcycle, man. You're not going to hear me ever say anything negative about those bikes. They're freaking awesome. Let's see. Juan says, how would you qualify the overall Himalayan build quality? The only thing that I think that they could do better, and that would be the places where there's additions for accessories. They just spray paint, and there's paint in them. What they should do is the same thing Harley Davidson does in most cases, not all cases, but take a little rubber plug and put into them. As far as the fit and finish, I think, considering that I've ridden several of the old Bullets back in the day, the fit and finish of the Himalayan and the new Continentals and the INTs are far superior. So they really are starting to get their crap together, if you know what I mean. Let's see. Sean says she's climbing up. I must be talking to Jordan. Let's see. I was looking for a Himalayan. Oh, nope, got that one. Your little food truck is wonderful. Got to come see you again. Hey, bro. We're in what do you call it? Newark every week, either at Homestead or other places. Usually at Homestead every Wednesday. Sean says, "Does your food truck go out every day?" No, because it's my retirement. I work Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays only. Saturdays and Sundays are my motorcycle ride days with the family. I don't ever do business on that. Mondays and Tuesdays when I do the YouTube content. I spent most of my life, I've been working a full-time job literally since I was 11 years old in my dad's restaurants. And so if I'd have went to prison at that age, I'd be out now. Let's see. Jordan, Euro motorcycles have the gear up, the two-wheel drive system. Well, they do for that, but I think what he's talking about is having like a differential, something that has actual where you have a limited slip. But again, I don't think that Ural has the same concept. Juan says, thanks for answering my questions. Really enjoy your channel. You're going to be famous. Nah, I'll be as famous as you'll make me, guys. That's all I'll say. I'm not about that. I'm just trying to share my love of motorcycles. And like I say, it roams around all of them. The Himalayan's what's given me the most attention. Harley's in my blood, though. It has been since I was 14 years old when I bought my first one. And it was a used 1966 XLCH that I tore the living crap out of. You call that retire? My father had some issues with his eyes, and I did too. I had a detached retina here. Guys who remember the channel, I wasn't riding for about a couple of weeks because I had to have surgery on my eye. And so when he lost his vision, he went downhill. And I will never stop working because I can't afford it, number one. Number two, you start not doing things every day, you start deteriorating. So I'm going to work until I go pop. Sean says, all right, man, I'm heading out to hang out with the wife. Good catching up with you, and want to check out the food truck sometime. I'll invite you to come out. Like I say, it's called My Little Kitchen, and we're in Central Ohio. I go from Marysville, Ohio, which is on the northwest side of Columbus, all the way down to Lancaster, which is on the southeast side of Columbus, and all parts in between. But we're here in the Newark area, which is not too far from where I live, every week. So we're there. Sam Juan says, this is great, man. Keep up the hard work. Thank you. I appreciate it, Juan. Sig says, looking forward to riding my new Hemi out to your food truck this summer. Well, again, you can find my schedule on mylittlekitchencbus.com, and it's there. Just look at my schedule, my calendar. You can find out where I'll be. My dad had detached also his right eye. Everything is still attached and skewed, straight walls. Looks like an S to him. Crazy, took him to surgery twice. Yeah, I mean, I had cataracts first, and just like my father did. My sisters all have it, and they're in their 50s as well too. And then I noticed one day I got up and I noticed there was like a black slice right here. I couldn't see, and there was a bunch of spots in it. And I called my eye doctor, and they said, "Get in here!" And they literally gave me a laser surgery on the spot to weld that retina back in its place. And so no motorcycle riding for 2 weeks. And so that was a long-ass 2 weeks, considering I was still doing the channel too. But I did do a couple shop videos that were out there, and people pretty much couldn't tell. But yeah, it's a damning thing when you get old. When you still got the heart of a 20-year-old and the body of a 60-year-old, dangerous. George says, RM Lum cases direct from India with free shipping around $480 to $520 is best deal I could find. Got my new Hemi yesterday. Drove secondary roads across Atlanta mountains next week. Fun. I tell you, the bike makes me freaking smile, man. I'll tell you, that is one of the reasons why I like it. I really get a kick out of that little puppy. Like I said, now I really like. Yesterday I was on the Road King, and I was just gone crazy, but fast. But the Himalayan, because I'm back on these gravel roads. You're traveling 30, 35 miles an hour. And you can feel the thing just, the gravel just wanting to drag you all kind of different places. But you're in control, and you're having a good time, and you're seeing stuff that you're not seeing on your Road King or your bigger bikes. And then you get off-road, and you get back on these trails, and which is what I want to tell you again. When you guys watch this video on Wednesday, at the very end of the video, I've got some game cam footage that like I say, when I was cutting the areas down, I put a game camera back there, and the amount of deer and wild turkey is just incredible. It's squirrels, obviously, I didn't include that, but there's all kind of wildlife back there. And when you walk back in there to do your work or drive your motorcycle, and you go back and you set your tent up, and all of a sudden here comes a 14-point buck walking across in 3 or 4 does right behind you, or you get a flock of 18 or 20 wild turkey, and they're sitting there. Right this time of year, the males are fanning right in front of you. It's like, I'm in heaven, but then again, I'm a redneck from Appalachia. I love that stuff. I've always been that type of guy. You guys know, if you're watching me a long time, that I used to fish the Bassmaster Tournament Trail. And when I was doing that, I'm outside all the time. I love it. Yeah, love it. So I'm in my world with the Himalayan. Motorcycles, bass boats, off-road camping. Dude, that is me in a nutshell, and it has been for 50 years. Thor says, take two-wheel and shade tree out on tour. I'm sub there too. Great time. Well, shade tree is definitely coming up, he said, in the future. As far as her two wheels, ask Jordan there. I've invited him to come on over. We'll take him all kind of cool places. Jordan, let's see. Kim says, you ever watch Sean Smokes? Yeah, I see. It's kind of funny you say that because there's a part of me that I want to giggle every time that guy comes on because he gives me almost like a creeper attitude when he starts his videos. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it's like this. Hello there, YouTube. I just like, what? But he's got some pretty cool content, but that's just kind of funny. But I know him and his wife bought some Himalayans because they're hyper popular and everybody's kind of jumping on the bandwagon a little bit, I think, but it is what it is. Let's see. Juan says, everybody says that the Himalayan seat is great and really comfortable. It is. My wife, I'm telling you what, we have a bunch of Harleys, and my wife said, not the Road King, but my wife says the back seat on the Himalayan is more comfortable than our Deluxe, and that just blows me away. But it is what it is. Deer population is bad in Ohio right now. Even coyotes are booming. Bobcats have even moved back into central Ohio. Yeah, I've got a couple of them on my game cam. I've got coyotes that survive. What? Kamikaze also worth a check. Yeah, he's actually commented a few on our posts. He's a big fan of the channel as well too. Him and Itchy Boots were two of the primary reasons why I started looking at the Royal Enfield Himalayan. Let's see. N4 says Euro gear up. Okay, he's still talking about the Urals. Locks the rear wheels to the sidecar when you're engaged. True off-road motorcycle used by militaries. Again, no experience with them. I see them once in a while, but that's as far as it goes. Thor says, haha, same here. Let's see. Anything else I missed? Well, we've been going on for nearly an hour and a half, guys. Are there any more questions? We're down to 35 now. We lost a few people. I think because it's getting late in the afternoon. And I think Shade Tree Surgeon's having a video starting at 8 o'clock. I think. I'm not sure, 8 or 9, regardless. And we don't want to cut into his stuff. So any other questions before we shut her down for the evening? We'll wait for a second here. I'm going to take a sip of water. I'm enjoying my monkey shoulder a little bit too much. And if you guys have been wondering, shameless plug that I get absolutely nothing for, this is one of the best blended scotches I've ever had. I really do enjoy it. Called Monkey Shoulder. Well, it looks like we've kind of hit a wall as far as people wanting to talk about stuff. So we've been on for an hour and 22 minutes. We'll give her another minute or two here. But I really do want to take the time to say thank you for everybody who's made us to 5,000 subscribers. We really, really enjoyed it. Let's see. Oh, Iron Rider said he got a sticker in the mail. Great, Friday. And Jordan says he has a bottle. Great. I mean, it's good scotch. But I'm glad you got your sticker, Iron Rider. I really appreciate people that are purchasing them. They really do help. And if you haven't gotten yours yet, again, another shameless promotion. Go to my Etsy page. They're for sale there. We ship them all over the world. Signified says, thanks for all the content, Jeff. Thank you. Yes, my name is Jeff, if you haven't guessed. Wish me luck this weekend in Ohio Motorcycle. Okay, he's taking his the MSF. That's great. I really do wish you luck. You'll pass, though. I'm pretty sure of that. So you already have your temps, I'm certain. So it'll be an easy one for you. Duck Mason, thank you so much for the channel. Look forward to many more Sundays with you. Like I said, we're going to probably do one a month as far as right now. We really do enjoy doing these live chats. They're a lot of fun. But let's wrap her up right now. Woodford's reserved for him. Good for you, George. Again, I love my bourbon too, man. All right, guys, we're going to wrap her up right now, but I really had a lot of fun. Again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the super chats. I really appreciate those as well, too. So you guys have a good time. Until next time, ride safe, everybody. And, of course, as always, keep her on two wheels, baby. Bye-bye now.